We are joined here by Ms. Kochar, the Director of CDCs in the Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research in KRG. Ms. Kochar, thank you so much for being with us. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. The pleasure is mine. Thanks for having me.
Could you tell us something about yourself in terms of your career path, starting with your education?
Sure. So my name is Kochar Azad. My major is English language. If I would like to talk about my career, I started right here in the Ministry of Higher Education as an employee with my bachelor's degree in English language. But the stuff that I was doing, actually, they were so simple stuff like typing letters, formal letters, ministerial letters, support letters. As you can relate, they had nothing to do with my major, actually. And almost everybody could do them. But later on, when I had the chance to apply for higher education, I was able to get a scholarship and have my higher education. So I got MA in Applied Linguistics with TESOL. So after that, I decided that I no longer belong to my previous job. I have to teach. So I started my teaching career. I have teaching experience for like about 6 years. And a couple of years, I was the head of English department. And one more thing that might interest the youth that are listening to us, I'm an entrepreneur as well. When Kurdistan went through some financial crisis and economical crisis, and the salary cut short, so I thought I might have my own business. So I could say that I'm an entrepreneur that provides money outside the government for myself and 2 to 3 other people.
The market world is rapidly changing with the advancement of technology, which has a bitter impact on higher individuals. Having said that, what are employers looking for nowadays in a new employee?
That's actually a very good question because, as you know, I am the director of the Career Development Centers, and this is the core of my job here. One of the most important tips for my job here to do is to create a link between the stakeholders that are the students, universities, the ministries, relevant ministries, and the most important stakeholder, that is the industry, the companies. And for that, what I say later, it is not based on my personal opinion, actually. We have a board which is called Industry Advisory Board. This board we have formed like for 1 year ago. And our main job with that board is to invite the industry, to listen to them, and we have already done that twice. We listened to them. So I could re-answer the question and say and raise the challenges that the companies were suffering from during recruitment or hiring staff. The first thing that they talked about was inefficiency in writing a professional and accurate CV that reflects their abilities. They were complaining about the fact that some of the applicants, when they apply CVs, they write something that does not exist in them, which is a big fat mistake, like Donald Trump says always. Yes, and the second point is weakness in self-introduction and demonstration during interviews because of the lack of confidence, not being well prepared, not knowing what job they have applied for. This is also a big point that we have to work on within our students. Number 3 is lack of hard technical and the soft skills that I mentioned earlier. As I said, it is a must nowadays because the government can no longer hire students and graduates, and that is okay because nowhere in the world the government promises everyone with academic qualification that I will hire. You have to develop yourself professionally and those skills that we talked about. Number 4 is the absence of communication skills. As I said, this is one of the most important soft skills that individuals should improve in themselves because they are dealing with people, customer service, and many other stuff that they should work on. Number 5, that one is really interesting. It talks about high expectations. They talked about high expectation. As I said earlier, when I started my career, I was doing very simple stuff with bachelor degree. So nowadays, our graduates, they think just because they have an academic qualification, bachelor degree, even if they do not have the other skills, they deserve a very nice, cozy office. They deserve a very high salary. So they expect a lot, which is not logical. So it is okay. Everybody starts from zero. Correct. It's okay if you start from something that does not suit your, let's say, ambitions at the beginning. So gradually you can build yourself and get what you want. Mm-hmm. Number 6 is inclination to work in the government sectors due to the easiness and social insecurities. I think our task is really hard on that point, because it's not only the graduates that we should work on. It is the families, it is the opposition, it is a part of the government, it is the society, because they always want to get jobs in the government, because right. Before starting a job, they think about retirement, right. Which is really wrong. This is why even when they apply for the jobs and they go to the interviews, what they show to the interviewees is that they are not stable, and they don't show them the long-term staying in that company. Why? Because their mind is busy thinking of being one day employed by the government, right. Which prevents success in your current job. Another point that the industry talked about and they had challenge was what the lack of work experience. Many students, maybe with you, with me, they complain about this point, and they say, we are fresh graduates, where do we bring experience? So I have 2 solutions for this problem. The first one is, in some companies, I worked before in an educational company. Do you know that I was looking for fresh graduates? You know why? Because I wanted to build them myself. Right. You know, I wanted to train them myself. So I was looking for fresh graduates. Not every single kind of work seeks work experience. And secondly, you can start with volunteerism, which is a very trendy job nowadays. And the CVs with volunteerism, that refer to volunteerism, they have a higher chance of acceptance. Right. Another point that they talked about was the fear of building their own careers, promotion, and their own businesses, to be entrepreneurs.
You know, this is one of the most important questions that I'm going to ask you, Ms. Kochar, because a lot of our students would love to know your input on what does an ideal CV or resume look like to you, and what impresses you when you're reading one?
That's a good question. I would say that an ideal or good CV contains your personal and contact details. Right. It also contains your academic qualification, your work experience, your skills, your achievements, and a good CV is also clear to understand, and it is accurate, which means the information that you state there is true about yourself. And sometimes it is good to include visuals, because they say that one picture is worth 1,000 words. And the CV showcases you. It's okay to be honest about yourself and state all what you have achieved in your CV, and it should be written by yourself. But I know what I say that, you know, because sometimes when we call for people for interviews, they say, for example, my brother or my cousins have applied for me. They don't know it's the job that they are applying for. Ah, okay. Yes.
So for the last question that I'm going to ask you, Ms. Kochar, what is your advice on preparing for a first-time interview?
Okay, so the first thing that you should do is to be neat. By neat, I mean to wear good clothes, not expensive, clean and tidy is enough. To be on time, to give a good impression, and when you enter the room, greet everybody to show that you are friendly and confident. Correct. And also, before answering the questions, thank them for shortlisting you and having you in the interview to show your attitude, your positive attitude. And again, before answering the questions, tell them that you have researched their company and you know about their achievements and what they are seeking for. So you give them the impression that you know what you are applying for, and that's a really important point. And also during the interview, during answering, you could show them that you are flexible and adaptable, but be smart and do not show them that you are too flexible, that you could be taken advantage of, but show them that you will be with them during their critical situations, during their crises as well, And when necessary, you can work outside your job description or working hours. Another point that I think is important for you during your interview is to make it clear that you plan to work with them for a long term.
Right.
And another thing is to show them that you are positively ambitious to get promoted. That's your right, and it shows your confidence. And during researching the company, one very important tip is to try to find a weakness, but you're just not telling them that your company has this weakness. You go with an action plan to correct that. Okay, and you should be honest in your answers. That is very important. For example, in some of the interviews, sometimes they ask about, it's very trendy nowadays, they ask about your weakness. You should not say that I do not have any weaknesses, because we all do, but you have to be careful. The weakness that you list should not be matched with the qualifications or the qualities that are required for your job, because you will lose it. Another very important point is that when they give you time for questions, please ask them at least one question. And the last point that I will raise and think it is important, if you leave the company for whatever reason in the future, stay positive about your company because you worked there once, and about the people because you might need them once again.
Absolutely. Ms. Kochar, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
your
you for
points were
having
very,
me.
very
It's my
helpful,
pleasure.
and we appreciate it, and thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. The pleasure is mine. Thank you.